Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how you can put an ISS location tracker on your custom live wallpaper. Now over here we have a website that's showing the location of the International Space Station, and it looks like it's about to fly over Africa, whereas here I'm somewhere in between America and Africa. Well, this down here at the bottom shows the last time that I updated it. So if I tap on that time, I have it set up to where it will update the map. Now it's 2:30 and technically it's 2:32 up here, but the API that I'm using will get the longitude and latitude, and we can use that with MapQuest to plot this track or to see the track of the ISS. And you can see here that these two are very close to each other. Now before diving into this tutorial, I have covered MapQuest a while back. The website has slightly changed a little bit, but when I went to create this here for the ISS tracker, I was still using some of the same stuff that I covered in this tutorial here. So make sure you go check out the custom tutorial MapQuest, a Google Maps API alternative, and that's over on my YouTube channel. We can see here that says Static Map API, whereas the new one is Static Map v4 API. So that's just going to get our map up here. And now what we can also do too is we can zoom in on this to get closer to the track, or we can zoom out, and right there where the minus disappears, that's as far out as we can get. Your zoom ranges from 1 to 18. And the same thing would happen here. If we zoomed in far enough, eventually the plus would go away, and it's just saying, hey, that's as far as you can zoom in. Now, how am I getting the longitude and latitude? I'm using this JSON right here, the api.opennotify.org. I'm getting the longitude, the latitude, and the timestamp that this was recorded. Now looking at this component inside of Kustom, I have titled it the ISS location. You can find this in my free components folder, and if we jump into that component, head over to globals. If you followed the MapQuest tutorial I did, you had to get an API key, and you want to go ahead and put that in right there. Now once you have that key entered in, the main things we want to look at now are how we're getting this longitude and latitude. I have those two globals right here, Longi and Lati. And what I'm doing is I'm doing a web get. Now this stuff here, I've talked about this numerous times in various tutorials, but just a quick recap, we're doing a web get. Here's the URL that I'm pulling from right up there, comma JSON, comma, and then I'm doing dot longitude. So these two dots here will automatically make it jump to this piece here, and that's how I'm getting that number. Now if I refresh this page, and then I open up this ISS position, we can see that this is a little bit closer, but this is updating, I don't know how often, maybe every minute or two or something like that, but that's how I'm getting that longitude, even though it might not match over here. The same thing applies to the latitude, the GV Lati, I'm just doing dot latitude. Now this global here, the time, what I'm doing is I'm doing a web get on that same URL, and I'm doing dot timestamp. However, since this is in a epoch time or Unix time, I'm just converting that date format, and I'm using hours, minutes, AM or PM. This is how I'm going to show when it was last updated. Now the map itself, this is where we're going to get our image for the map. And again, please check out that MapQuest tutorial I mentioned at the beginning of the video. You can adjust a whole bunch of these things to your liking. But what is important in my opinion is to maybe have the center of the map at that GV Lati, comma, GV Longi. And then I had that little icon popping up, the P center. That's how we're getting that icon to pop up. And I'm having that right there at the center as well, since the center of my map is that latitude and longitude that we're pulling from this URL over here. So this is the center of the map, and then the P center is where we're going to put the icon that will mark where the ISS is. Now you can customize this map even more using the API documentation over at MapQuest. Now feel free to dive into this component as well. I have stuff set up in a stack group. This shape right here is the actual image. The overlap group that I have here is just the zoom in, zoom out buttons. And actually all this stuff that sits inside of the overlap group, if we touch anywhere in this overlap group, we can update the downloaded image. And I also did a force RSS text XML update. I don't know if both of them are absolutely required, but this is just what I did here. And then for the other things, the zoom in, zoom out, dive into those, look at my codes that I have set up there. If this is one of the first tutorials you've ever seen me do, go back and check out tutorials on the text global. That's how I'm operating this zoom feature. So now it's 2:42. If I tap this overlap group, It updates to 241, so that's the last time that this was updated. Let me refresh this page. So these new coordinates did get updated. And then if we look at the current position of the ISS, it looks like it's on the tip of Africa right there, and that's pretty much where we are on this map as well. And there you have it, a dynamically updating map showing the location of the ISS using MapQuest, as well as this API.OpenNotify to get the longitude, latitude, and timestamp. If you like what you see and you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below. And that's it for this video. I hope it helped.